We're back at it again with another Battlefront update. Only a couple more days before the September update goes live, and interest is already starting to ramp up from both the online and offline communities. In today's video, we'll be trying to get an even closer look at what improvements, changes, and additions will be or could be coming for September. And as well, even going over some rather exciting news regarding the October update. And before we get into any of that, but a quick reminder, as if you do like these type of videos, then do remember to give it a like to show your support for not only this update series, but also the content within it. With that out of the way, let's get into it. To start things off, we'll be going over the news that has picked up the most attention lately, and that is Yoda getting nerfed. As with every single update, there's always that one hero who's everyone got their eyes on to either expect to get a nerf or a buff. Well, in most cases these days, it's a nerf, and that is certainly the case with Yoda. Fortunately for everyone who was hoping that Yoda does see a nerf, then they'll be very happy to hear that community manager Ben Walk went out of his way to confirm that this is indeed happening. Ben over on Reddit had this to say: "Some good fixes, tweaks, and quality of life changes going into the next Battlefront 2 update. Adjustments to hero balance too. All the specifics in the release notes next week." And along with this, he included a Yoda GIF, which had one person asking if Yoda was getting nerfed, to which Ben replied with, "Yoda is getting tweaked, yes." For everyone keeping tabs on heroes in the game lately, then you'll know Yoda is without a doubt one of, if not the best hero options on the light side at the moment. Kind of a bit too good, and that's the problem. The thing is, I feel as Yoda was in a perfect spot before they gave him the ability to block sabers, which has ever since made him far too good for his own good. And that's the thing, at the moment he's currently a master of all trades. He has a block, can absorb projectiles, has a decent force push move, can give himself more health, has the smallest hitbox in the game, has an attack that can go through blocks, and has cards that can turn him from just decently strong to straight up overpowered. So with that all in mind, it's about time DICE start taking action and tweaking him in order to make him a more reasonable hero to play with and against. As for what these tweaks entail, then we already have somewhat of an idea, as Ben revealed some details surrounding the tweaks for Yoda, and that will focus around his damage output and health bonus. So I'm assuming he's going to be seeing a reduction in damage output, while health bonus is likely referring to buffs not stacking anymore. Which, if that's the case, then that will surely help the situation by quite a bit. Unfortunately, there is no word regarding his dash going through blocks, but there is a chance that might be included in the full patch notes. That's something we're gonna have to wait until Wednesday to find out. Next, Ben also made a comment revealing that lightsaber combat changes are still very much on the minds of DICE. As you can recall, DICE did release an update to lightsaber combat back in August, but those changes were met with a terrible reception by the community, as instead of improving things, then all it did was worsen the situation so much to the point that people were choosing to avoid playing HVV straight up, all because of how bad things had got. DICE soon realized what had happened and put out a hotfix of sorts in early September, which instead of fixing lightsaber combat, then all it did was revert the new changes that were made. While this decision was met with relative positivity, in the end everyone knew that this was only a temporary band-aid and real fixes were needed to happen very soon. Ben confirmed that recently on Twitter, saying, "A lot of talk about lightsaber combat in Battlefront 2 recently. Right now, our priority is to remove the frustrations you are feeling, working to make staggering less impactful for the player being attacked, reduce risk of rubber banding, improve dodges, etc. More on the way." Overall, a very good message promoting that player voices are being heard and changes should be happening soon. What makes this comment all the much better is that Ben even outlined some of the exact problems folks were having with the lightsaber combat before, which shows that DICE did do their homework here and know exactly what areas they need to work on. As for when these new lightsaber combat changes should be coming, then that part hasn't been made clear yet. I'd say the October update should be a realistic release date, as they'll essentially have almost 2 months to work on getting things right. However, the good news is that Ben did confirm that at least some of the new changes should be included in the September update as well. He didn't specify what these would exactly be, but I wouldn't count on them being anything too major. For that, we may have to wait until October, and for good reason, because the longer DICE have to test these new changes out, the better. Another interesting comment that was made recently by Ben over on Reddit was regarding a question about Anakin's Retribution ability. This is where one person asked how come Anakin's Retribution ability will sometimes work right away and other times not even activate despite spamming the button. Ben responded by saying that this is due to timings going on in the backend. It's something we're aware of and working towards. I'm curious to see how some of the changes we're making in next week's update will affect hero combat. Will be a good step forward. So yet another positive piece of news regarding heroes, as once again DICE are aware and very much know how they should tackle this problem. Because usually when I see people complain about hero issues, then Ben will instead ask the person more details concerning the problem and if they have any video footage and so on. Which basically means that they have no clue the issue even existed to begin with, but are eager to learn about it. Yet here, DICE are on top of things and are already working on a fix. And even better is that problems like this is the result of something within the backend, which actually makes things even more easier for DICE, as that means it's a server issue and they can fix it on the fly, rather than have to worry about releasing a patch for people to download and wait for it to be approved by Microsoft and Sony. Another welcome change that we should be seeing in the September update is speeders getting nerfed. Ben over on the official Battlefront 2 forums made a mention that tweaks to speeders are coming in the next update, which in my opinion is a step in the right direction. Speeders are by far one of the most annoying opponents to face for heroes, as most force abilities won't work on them and they're difficult to hit if you're a lightsaber wielding hero. I've seriously lost count on the amount of times I've seen myself or other people get done in by speeders. And it looks like that could very well be changing with the upcoming update. We're not yet sure by what these tweaks will entail, but I love to see the speeder handling improve, maybe a battle point increase, and actually be affected by most force abilities. Those are what I would call good tweaks. Now to jump in quickly into instant action that will be arriving in the September update, where the specific details around it have been a bit hazy considering we never did get a CT for it. But one of the prime questions for instant action was on what kind of freedom it would offer for offline players, especially in terms of playable heroes. When asked if instant action would have all heroes playable or only those from the Clone Wars, Ben replied by saying Clone Wars for now, we'll see what the future holds. So unfortunately, it's confirmed that instant action, at least on release, will be Clone Wars exclusive. However, don't be surprised that when the OT and ST do get added to Capital Supremacy for online, then this should and will follow into offline as well. As for immersion and instant action, this question was also brought up, asking what kind of options should be included in the mode like matching trooper skins, planet-accurate legions, and other additions for improving the immersive experience in the mode. Ben chimed in by saying, "We agree, it's something we would like to really add in. It won't be there for the launch of instant action, but we'll see how it goes." Same sentiment has been shared within the team. We're on the same wavelength. So bad news is that it does seem like instant action will be lacking in customization or immersive options. But good news is that the team over at DICE also feel the same about this stuff as we do. So while instant action might be a little bare bones at release, it sounds like it could be receiving more additions and content in the near future. Just one step at a time, I guess. And now that we've covered all the changes and general news surrounding the September update, we'll be taking our attention to October. As mentioned before, DICE have planned a lot, which for the most part will not be possible to include it all in the September update. One of this is the change surrounding the final ship phase on Capital Supremacy, more specifically for the clones defending on the Venator. When asked if a fix was coming for it now, then Ben admitted that DICE are working on it. Probably won't reach this update, but they have plans. And of course, this is regarding the final objective, as currently it's very demanding and difficult for the clones to actually win their defensive on the Venator. Now, I still think that the final objective phase is awesome and should very much be a part of the mode for sure, but it desperately needs balancing, especially when you consider that the Seppies have this tiny generator you have to shoot and almost every route to it can easily be defended by the droids. while the clones have a wide open area and the generators can be destroyed without much effort. Not to mention the spawn points for the clones in general is also worse. While unfortunately we won't see this fixed for September, it does sound like DICE are working hard on finding a solution that will hopefully make everyone happy. Next topic surrounding October that's getting a lot of traction lately is the talk regarding a bit of terror coming to the game next month. Manuel Lanes, the design director of Battlefront 2's live service, recently tweeted that in addition to all the love going into the September patch, there will also be a bit of terror in the next one, which would be referring to the October update. And based on the sound of this, many in the community were quick to jump to the conclusion that this terror would turn out to be the addition of Geonosian Hunt, mainly on account because the episode title that featured zombie Geonosians in the catacombs has terror in the title. And considering that Geonosis is in the game, then this without a doubt would make for an amazing Halloween themed mode. But unfortunately, it looks like this won't be the case, as Benoit took no time in making sure to debunk this community speculation, saying, "Nope, debunking this now before the rumor mill runs away and everyone convinces themselves it's happening." And if I'm being honest, I'm not surprised. DICE in August already made it known that they're taking a break from Clone Wars content after September. We're most likely to see Clone Wars content make a comeback next year when Season 7 releases. But for now, original and sequel trilogy content is set to make a return. And if this terror in October does turn out to be a hunt mode, then I think one of Undead Troopers makes the most sense. Their canon and original zombie story in Star Wars. DICE could even make the interiors of the Star Destroyer from the campaign and have us play in that while fending off against Undead Troopers. That would be a lot of fun, and in my mind, having a new hunt mode would be just amazing. Ewok Hunt was already a breath of fresh air, and what really hurt it in the end was that it only had one map, so things got repetitive. If DICE do add Undead Trooper Hunt in October, or whatever hunt mode they do end up adding, then it would make the most sense if they rename Ewok Hunt into just Hunt mode and throw it in there. That way the player base doesn't get spread out too much and we can all enjoy Hunt mode with more than one map and feature. Fingers crossed that this happens. But that'll do it for this Battlefront update. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.